Yes, Andrea?
Next, we welcome Brad Anderson, Corporate VP of Microsoft 365. Brad has built 4 separate billion-dollar businesses at Microsoft, including 2 from scratch. Brad hosts a video series, The Ship Room, which is an IT staple, and a weekly live.
All right, Brad, I don't think you're going to get the full intro here. I think Andrea's having Wi-Fi problems, but we'll get into it. It's good to see you, brother. How are you?
Hey, fantastic. It's great to be here. I'm sitting here listening to all these amazing people talk and thinking to myself, wow, you've got all these chief marketing officers, and I'm kind of the geeky engineering leader here who happens to have a big social presence and following that I get to do a lot of things with. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Before we get into it, that picture behind you is remarkable, and kudos on that. Talk about a win. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. 5 children, 3 grandchildren, 2 more on the way. So I stay busy at home and I stay busy at work. Hey, but let's jump in.
When did you start having children? 12? You look amazing to have 3 grandchildren.
You're kind. No, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and it's amazing.
Right.
Hey, let's go
into it. What's your perspective from your purview on consumer behavior 2021? What are the opportunities? What are the shifts? What are the key things that companies need to be thinking about?
Yeah, it's interesting. I sit in this unique place where I get a chance to see how organizations and people work. And then you can take that insight, you can translate to how do the changes in how people work, how does that then translate into not only their consumer changes, but how all the organizations that service them change. So, Microsoft, we build what's called Office 365. Most people probably use it at work. It's hundreds of millions of users. And I build all the management and security around that. So as you can imagine, we do a ton of research on how orgs and people work. And I'll tell you, in March and April of this year, we saw multiple years of cultural change happen in how orgs work in 2 months. And those changes will not only have profound impacts on the organizations, but it's going to have a profound impact on all the organizations that service, the employees and the orgs themselves. So let me just kind of lay it out for you for a minute. Like at March 12th at Microsoft, we sent everybody home. So, on March 11th, 5% of the company was working remote. On March 12th, 98% was working from home. And that was common around the world. We all live on virtual meetings like we're doing right now, no travel. But all those things contributed to just people work in a different way now. And so you take those changes and say, all right, what's going to happen when the crisis is over and we come into a new normal? What is it going to look like? First of all, travel is going to drop dramatically from a business perspective. I was reading some research that Bill Gates had put out. In his view, travel is going to reduce by more than 50%. And that makes sense to me. I think we've learned that we can have meaningful conversations like this over video. And, before when we were going to close a big deal, one of us had to go out and travel and seal the deal in person. You can now do that over video. Second, how many people are going to want to work from home going forward? The research that we show, 50% of people want to work from home 2 or 3 days a week. I hear CIOs telling me things like, on any given day as they plan for the future, 50% of the company will be in the office. And it's going to be a different 50% every day. How's that going to change things? I'll come back and give some observations on that. And then finally, if you think about it, if half your people are working from home or remotely, every meeting is going to be a virtual meeting like what we're on right now. It's, kind of gone are the days when everyone's going to be in the same room. So now translate that. How does that then impact changes in the market? First of all, travel, hospitality, all those businesses have got to think differently about how they thrive because business travel is their most lucrative business. That's a 100%. Fundamental change for them.
Huge.
Think about all of the businesses that what they do for a living is they support other businesses, whether that's meals, maintenance, cleaning, whatever the case may be. Is the amount of office space that's going to be in use is going to drop. I hear organizational leaders telling me that they think they can free up 30% of their office space. And the amount it's going to save them is stunning. One of the questions I'll often ask is, hey, can you give me an idea, like roughly, what does it cost for you to have an office, a dedicated office for a person? And kind of a number I hear a lot is about $30,000 a year fully burdened. If you're a 10,000 person organization, you can save 3,000 spots. You're saving $90 million a year that you can now choose to invest in other places. That's huge. So that's going to have a change on how things work. And then finally, if you think about what work is now, my experience, like the experience that you and I are having right now, this is the company to me. The experience. 100%. Yeah. And so this is now the proxy for the company. And organizations that are not putting a world-class experience into the hands of their people are going to have a hard time attracting and retaining. In fact, some research points out that of all the people under the age 35, 45% of them now, a core criteria in their decision-making is how good is the tech that the company is going to enable me with.
Of course, I think that number, basically the thing I most hear anecdotally from people under 30 is making fun of the software that their company uses.
That's
it's
right.
Like a huge common theme. Like there, as you know, and you're in this space, a lot of the tech, is built and it's world renowned. And then just like anything in life, 7, 12, 13 years later, it's a Frankenstein of what it was. It's slower than the alternatives. And it's because, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, every company that's ever won started by disrupting in its lack of friction. And then the real challenge is disrupting yourself before somebody else disrupts you.
That's right. And in the case of Microsoft, if you go back a decade, we had built world-class capabilities about delivering on-premise products, but that's all moved to the cloud now. And, we're one of the companies that has figured out how to make that transition, but it's not, a business model change is a very hard transition to make it through. But here's some stunning data just to give you an idea of the research that we're now doing on this employee experience piece. And just to build on your point a little bit, what we hear is these individuals come back, and when we interview employees and they go like, the technology that I have in my personal life is so much better than the technology that I have in my business life. And that's just unacceptable. You need to have.
It's not even close, by the way. I'm having.
That's right. And so
it's happening with live stream software, right? It's, we're having meetings where I'm literally having meetings with individuals in Fortune 500 companies where they're using their personal emails because they want to use a different software because the one that their organization is stuck in, because it's more secure, it doesn't have a feature or isn't innovating as quickly. It makes sense. It's David and Goliath. It's a very real thing.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. There's been kind of this tyranny of or that you can give a great user experience or it can be secure. And for the last couple of decades, it kind of feels like we've been caught in that. That's not the case any longer as we bring all these cloud services together. And so it's interesting as we worked with some of these organizations that have transformed and they're putting this amazing experience in the hands of their users, where users look at it and go like, this is every bit as good as what I have in my personal life. Here's just 3 data points that I think are fascinating. And this is for every leader in a company to ask themselves, would you want these 3 data points? First of all, when you put world-class technology to work that your employees can use, your employees are 121% more likely to feel valued by your company. That's loyalty, that's longevity. They're going to work harder. They're 59% more likely to say that that technology enables them to better serve their customers. Customer NPS and satisfaction is going to go up. And finally, this is an amazing number. These organizations are seeing a full 75-point increase in the internal net promoter score, NPS, from their employees as they give them a wonderful experience. Gary, if as a product owner, if I see a way to get a 5 or 10-point increase in NPS, boy, you go all in because that's a big move. These organizations are literally seeing a 75-point, which I think is 2 things. 1, they're coming from a really poor experience. And then 2, they're landing on a great experience. But those, I think, are the trends. You have to deliver this world-class experience to your users because they're going to be working from everywhere. And as people work from everywhere, it's going to change how orgs work, and it's going to change how all the organizations that support them serve their customers.
Thinking about all the efficiency talk, well, I got 1 more minute. Something spurred as I was listening to you. Just curious from your perspective, Brad, where common sense sits in the current equation of business and marketing. You're just one man's point of view, just kind of listening to you hack here a little bit. I like it. Just very intuitively curious where you think the responsibility for more common sense, less common sense, like where's common sense in today's business environment from your perspective?
Yeah, when you say common sense, one of the words that comes to my mind is simplicity. So much of, as you talk about, your question, things get very complicated very quick and, people glaze over. And so I think about simplicity as an engineering leader, as an architectural principle, but I also think about that as an architectural principle and how we communicate. I think we just have to be really clear and really simple in all the communications and not try to hide behind a bunch of acronyms and technology talk. People want to have a clear and an honest view of what they can do with your technology.
Brad, I really appreciate your time. Happy holidays.
Hey, same to you. Thank you.